We keep things rolling here on the Sports Cubicle and Sports from the Couch here on WCPT 820 AM, HeartlandSignal.com, WSBC 1240 AM, Chicago, and on YouTube at the Sports Cubicle. I'm your host, Mike Mercado, and yes, it is NFL season. I'm with you, injected right into my veins. It is the main subject matter of today's show. It is going to be something we'll be covering the rest of the fall and winter. But even knowing that kickoff of the regular season has started with the Philadelphia Eagles hanging a banner and winning after a rain delay, even after a game in Brazil, even after a slate full of Sunday games and the Chicago Bears and Minnesota Vikings waiting for us on Monday Night Football, the NBA took a huge headline in the wire for news in the sports world, and it had to do with a crazy story with Steve Ballmer, the owner of the LA Clippers, a fake tree planting company, and Kawhi Leonard as they tried to circumvent the salary cap after an investigation from Pablo Torre, who we've talked about here on the show a lot on his show Pablo Torre Finds Out. And this actually comes to us from USA Today for the win. Kawhi Leonard's no-show job from Steve Ballmer report. What we know, and this is from Charles Curtis. Pablo Torre is finding out more stuff, this time after the reporters deep dive into Jordan Hudson and some of the gambling scandals in sports. He's focused his latest podcast and investigation on Kawhi Leonard. Here's what he's potentially found out: that the Los Angeles Clippers star may have been paid a lot of money for a company funded by Steve Ballmer, the Clippers owner, that was meant to get around NBA salary cap rules. There's a lot to unpack here. Let's fill you in on what we know from Torre's reporting so far in what is sure to be a developing story. Torre found out that allegedly fraudulent company called Aspiration had Kawhi Leonard listed as a creditor. Aspiration, a tree broker, filed for bankruptcy in March of 2025, and that one of its creditors was KL2 Aspire LLC to the tune of $7 million. That's a company allegedly belonging to Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard was reportedly paid $28 million to endorse Aspiration. Other celebrities like Robert Downey Jr. and Drake were paid to endorse it, but Torre couldn't find Leonardo endorsing the company, which was a rumor that Leonardo DiCaprio was even part of that. Pablo Torre spoke to a former Aspiration employee who alleges it was a salary cap circumvention. It was to circumvent the salary cap, LOL, the unnamed employee said. The single largest payment to an individual for marketing that Aspiration ever made has completely evaded all press. He didn't have to do anything. The Clippers have denied, and Steve Ballmer along has denied that they circumvented the salary cap, and the NBA will investigate this. And there was some stuff that came from there after this as well. We saw that Steve Ballmer was actually on ESPN, and he was on ESPN with Romana Shelburne, and he did an interview talking about how he wasn't sure that he only had X amount of communication, that he himself was scammed in this situation. And we even have seen that Pablo Torre has come out with even more information that really puts even more light to it. This was from Pablo Torre's Twitter account. Hi, PTFO can now confirm that Aspiration gave Kawhi a secret $20 million side deal as first reported by Boston Sports Journal, combined with Kawhi's secret $28 million no-show endorsement deal. That's $48 million. So this story has continued to develop, and there's a lot of nuance, and there's a lot of, lawyer talk. There's a lot of contract talk. But what really got me interested, and you can find out more over at USA Today for the win, Kawhi Leonard's no-show job from Steve Ballmer report, what we know. And, of course, check out the entire process over at Pablo Torre's YouTube channel. And then he recently had an interview, a conversation, an hour-long argument with Mark Cuban, who he tweeted out, Mark Cuban that is, that he's team Steve Ballmer. And his whole thing is, Steve Ballmer is one of the smartest investors in the entire world, the seventh richest man in the entire globe, and that he doesn't believe that Steve Ballmer was involved with this. There was some crazy insider stuff going on. But all of that being said, all the nuance, two things I think are clear to me. One, the reason why you see so many owners or you see so many people going against Pablo Torre, calling him clickbaity, or trying to just stir up something, is because in no realm, in no multiverse, in no universe, is this the only time this is happening. You have to believe that across all of sports, in the entire planet, that people have been trying to find ways to promise money in different directions so that they don't have to be hitting certain numbers on the salary cap. This is not the only time this has ever happened. But with that being said, that doesn't mean every owner is doing it. So imagine if you're a mid-market to a small market team and you already have a hard time signing players, especially in a non-salary cap sport, but just in general in all of sports. It's tough enough to try to recruit and sign extensions with these big-time players if you're in Minnesota. Some people believe Chicago, Ohio, whatever, right? It's not Miami, New York, or Los Angeles. So it's bad enough you're already competing with that you're competing against the 6th richest man in the world, but now they're doing backdoor shady deals that you can't match. You can't comp. You can't do that. You can't just find investors to just give money away. We're talking about $40 million just out of nowhere. Not just to Ballmer, that's nothing. That's $5 off his pocket, right? But that is big money, especially in salary cap sports, especially in competitive salary cap sports where there are haves and have-nots. I'm not here either, though, to tell the player not to make his bag. Please, by all means, any way you can make $1 honestly without hurting anybody and you don't have to do a thing, I'm for it. Especially if the multi-billion dollar owners and entrepreneurs or whatever you want to call them are the ones, the oligarchs more and more like it, are paying you. I'm fine for it. If Jerry Reinsdorf wanted to find a way to get Giannis Antetokounmpo over here by saying, yeah, we're planting violets all over the place, here's $40 million to do it, I'm for it. Now, the stupidity is that they didn't do one media or press thing, one PR moment of Kawhi, endorsing it and saying, yep, that's it, we're done. It's the sheer hubris of the entire situation. That people didn't think that people would investigate, that journalists like Pablo Torre aren't out there. I don't think this is the biggest scandal in the world. I think owners and the league are going to take this very seriously. I think there might be some repercussions that hurt the Clippers. But the funny fact that it's the Clippers and they didn't win anyway. They did all that cheating and they couldn't win anyway is pretty crazy. And this is also coming after the time when we all thought LeBron and Kawhi were going to team up in LA, not for the Clippers, but for the Lakers. It's just fascinating to me that we don't hear this more often and that owners aren't playing this cool. People who are on that side of the aisle are telling on themselves too much. And I also believe it also shows the naiveness of sports fans, of people in general that just believe everything they see, that everything is on the up and up, that they're not being lied to or manipulated. That's what this is. This is competition. And they found a way to get an edge over somebody else. So of course I'm mad because it's not my team doing it. It's not the team I root for trying to take every advantage possible to secure a good team or what they thought is a good team. Now, you can argue, did you want to do all this for what is admittedly an awesome player when he plays in Kawhi Leonard? And let's also say this isn't a crime. No crime was committed. I don't know the fraud way of doing this, but as of right now, there is no crime that's being committed. Just rules getting broken. But nonetheless, it's an interesting, fascinating story that I think is going to put a spotlight on owners on all sports who their collars might have just gotten a little bit tighter around their necks, hoping nobody else digs around paperwork for deals like this. And now that we've seen a big name, a big owner in a big city with a big journalist break this story, it might not be the last time we see something like this. The real question is, what's the next player that this happened to with? what sport do they play in, and how much money was invested in them. I think this is one of those stories that really just exemplifies just how much people want to win, especially people on that level with that much money and ego at stake. But we'll see how much more developed on this. We'll see what punishment comes down. We'll see what the NBA says. We've heard Ballmer talk. We've even seen Mark Cuban speak. And the only one who hasn't talked is Kawhi Leonard. Go figure, right? We got more coming up next. Let us know your thoughts. What do you think about this Steve Ballmer, Kawhi Leonard aspiration tree story that's going on, that they tried to circumvent the salary cap and pay Kawhi reportedly over nearly $40 million of money that he didn't work for, but God bless him and God bless this country if you can make that type of money. Let us know your thoughts. We're on YouTube. Leave a comment down below at the Sports Cubicle. We're also right here on WCPT 820 AM, heartlandsignal.com, WSBC 1240 AM, Chicago, YouTube, the Sports Cubicle. We're here on the Sports Cubicle and Sports from the Couch. I'm your host, Mike Mercado.